Welcome back. The market is under a bit of pressure right now, but it has definitely recovered from the lows of trade. The mid-caps have actually moved into the green. And supporting the market today is the pharmaceutical names. So you have Cipla, Divi, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, all trading in the green by about 1 to 2.5%. So let's talk about this space. In the latest deal in the Indian pharma market, Torrent Pharma is buying domestic-focused Curatio Pharma. So why is Torrent Pharma shelling out 2,000 crores for a company that's expected to generate around 275 crores of sales in this year? Ekta is here to shed light on the two fast-growing segments that Curatio operates in, dermatology and pediatrics. Ekta.
Well, yes, Torrent Pharma, which will now get 60% of its business from the Indian market versus 50% earlier, is shelling out around 2,000 crores to buy 100% stake in India-focused dermatology company Curatio Pharma. While concerns have been around the deal valuations and the margins, experts say it is an insight into two fast-growing segments in the Indian pharma market of dermatology as well as pediatrics. How is that? Curatio gets over 90% of sales from dermatology, but 60% of the products are from the pediatric dermatology segment. One of Curatio's top-selling products is a pediatric soap, Teddy Bar, which comprises of around 34% of its revenue and generated around 76 crores of sales in FY22. Other top products too are focused on the pediatric dermatology space, such as Nappy Rash Cream Before Nappy, Spoo, which is a sulfate-free shampoo, and Atgola, which is a 34 crore brand which is used for pediatric atopic dermatitis. While both dermatology and pediatric segments were impacted by COVID-19, they have seen a bounce back. For example, the baby and child market is currently expected to be valued a little over 12,600 crores, up 14% year-on-year, and is estimated to grow at around 12% and by FY25 reach close to around 18,000 crores. Meanwhile, the dermatology market is currently valued at around 11,000 crores. It can be roughly broken up into two segments, medical and cosmetic. Medical dermatology is focused on more traditional conditions, making up bulk of the dermatology market at around 7,000 odd crores, growing at around 8 to 9%. Meanwhile, the cosmetic dermatology market is mainly focused on skin and hair products for less serious medical conditions, which is valued at around 3,000 crores and is expected to grow 18 to 20% per year. This growth is also reflective in the sales of companies. For example, Curatio sales, which gets around 50% of sales from 3 brands, generated around 224 crores of sales in FY22 and is expected to end FY23 with at least 275 crores of sales. Similarly, Piramal Pharma has a portfolio of baby care brands under the brand Little's, is ranked 5th as a whole in the OTC segment. Other competitors include baby products company, German company Sebamed, which as of 2021 as a whole had grown 5x in the last 3 years, and in a similar category is dermatology company Cetaphil. Lastly, while growth is expected to continue, experts believe there will be continued interest to enter this market via the M&A route, which is already visible. For example, earlier this year, we saw Eris Life shelling out around 650 crores for a Mumbai-based private dermatology company, Oaknet, while JB Chemicals bought 4 of Dr. Reddy's pediatric brands, including a Nappy Rash Cream, for a total of around 100 crores. Experts point out that deals could even be at a premium valuation, as we have seen for Torrent, as they are paying for growing brands in a high-growth segment, which will help outperform the Indian pharma market, with less risk of these portfolios also coming under the price control hammer.
Okay, well, I must say, somebody like me has used Nappy Rash creams for the longest time. Now I know why this industry is growing so much, the pediatric dermatology space. Thanks, Ekta, for that. Aditya Khemka, the fund manager, healthcare portfolio at InCred, joins us now. He tracks the space closely. Aditya, from a listed company point of view, can you tell us who are the beneficiaries?
So, thanks for having me. In terms of the pediatric cosmetology, dermatology portfolio standpoint, I think none of the Indian pharma companies traditionally have a very strong hold in this segment. It's an emerging segment. It's a small segment as it is today, which is why, because it's emerging and it's a small segment today and it's growing really fast, you are seeing some of the inorganic activities that we are seeing around the segment, and that is expected to continue. because most of the pharma companies in India basically have come to realize that this is a segment that will grow significantly bigger in a short span of time, and they need to participate in the growth in the segment. So the deal that we are talking about, Torrent and Curatio, is one of the ones that have been announced. And as Ekta pointed out, there have been a couple of deals in the past which are similar. But one would expect more deals to happen around the space simply because it's a space that's growing by leaps and bounds.
Right. So, could you give us some numbers as to the kind of size that it is right now, potentially how big can it be? Any comparisons that you have from global markets, and if you could superimpose that on the Indian framework, will that work? And how do you play this? Do you play this via pharmaceutical listed companies, or do you play this via FMCG companies who are investing in baby care? I mean, offhand, I can remember Dabur wanting to get into this, and ITC having invested in Mother's Sparsh as well.
Yeah, so we don't have data from the outside markets, and it generally doesn't correlate well to the Indian market simply because the price points are extremely different. What we know is, as Ekta pointed out, cosmetology is about a 3,000 crore market in India. Dermatology itself is about 7,000 crores, and they are growing in the mid-teens, largely speaking, in that range. What I do see happening is that we see that more and more companies will get interested in this space, and there are already deals which have happened. There will be more deals that probably will happen, and you will see pediatric market as a segment growing faster. Now, companies that focus on the India market more today are going to be the key beneficiaries. So if you see, our InCred healthcare portfolio also, we talk a lot about companies focused on branded generics. So Torrent is one company which has done this exercise, and they will obviously benefit over the long term by creating value here. But you also have many other companies that focus on the India segment. And the valuations that these companies are paying tells you, what kind of value these businesses have. And ironically, the listed equities don't trade anywhere close to the valuations of these acquisitions, which tells you the gap between the perception of the private market and the public market in terms of the value of these companies.
Aditya, there were 3 deals which took place within this space, pediatrics/dermatology, in this year. The latest is Torrent, before that Eris Life, and I also pointed out there was this deal with JB Chemicals and, Dr. Reddy's picking up 4 of their pediatric brands. Which one do you think was probably the most lucrative from a company perspective, and which of these, amongst these 3 companies, would you probably be more bullish on when it comes to the India portfolio?
So in our InCred Healthcare PMS, we do hold Torrent, we do hold JB, we hold Dr. Reddy's. So we hold all 3 stocks, to be honest. We don't hold Eris Life Sciences. We have our own process investment framework. Having said that, I think, the normal way of judging whether a deal will be value accretive or not, people look at the valuations that they have paid as the barometer to judge whether the deal can be accretive or not. But we don't use it at all, because it's not just about what you're paying, it's about what you can do with what you have acquired. And when you look at that, if you look at the history of Torrent, if you look at the history of some of the other companies, I believe Torrent is one of the better companies that do justice to acquisitions, whether you look at Elder, whether you look at the what Unichem's brands. So they have been able to do justice to what they acquired in the past. And so has, for example, JB Chemicals, they have been able to do somewhat justice. So therefore, we are more optimistic on these 2, that they can perform better, and we hold both of them in our InCred Healthcare portfolio. Eris, on the other hand, haven't been able to showcase a similar level of execution with their inorganic activity, and therefore we don't hold Eris in our InCred Healthcare portfolio.
All right, we'll leave it at that, Aditya. Thanks a lot for joining in and taking us through the moves that we're seeing in the pharma space, particularly in pediatric dermatology. The market, by the way, is under quite a bit of pressure, so don't lose sight of what's happening with the Bank Nifty. The Bank Nifty has now moved to almost a 460-point cut. The Sensex and the Nifty are both down about 0.6 to 0.7%, and the Nifty has now slipped below that 17,000 mark. So on the other side of the break, we'll get Pritesh Mehta of Yes Securities to give us some trading strategies.